today I have the goal of making a zine in 24 hours. I have a little market I'm doing on Saturday, and I thought that a zine is the perfect thing to make in between today, which is Wednesday, and Saturday, just because it's quick. I have a riso printer at home, so I can print it easily. If you don't know what riso printing is, it's a copy machine from Japan, and it's become pretty trendy in the last couple years just for the effect you can get from the ink, and also if you layer many colors you can get some really cool combinations and interesting textures and effects. I have one at home, but we only have black ink, so my zine will be all in black, but I'm going to play with the gray tones because you can get some cool halftone textures and grain textures out of the machine. And I'm just gonna make a little saddle stitch zine, so it'll be bound in the middle. I'll make the cover separately at the Silkscreen studio. And the topic of my zine is gonna be creation myths. So this is a little like zine dummy I made with just like messily what text I was gonna put and some sketches of ideas I had for the images. I'm gonna go into a sketchbook though and make some more detailed sketches and I'll show you how those turn out. Today I'm going to be finishing off my zine, so I'm super happy because last night I finished 5.5-ish of the 8 pages, so that only leaves 2.5 pages for me to finish today, and then I can print the zine. So I'll print it. I also want to make a cover page though, so let me just show you guys how it's been going so far. So these are the pages I've done so far. I have this one that I'm working on now. Let's finish working on this together and then I will print out the final copy. I definitely am going to use a different colored paper for the cover, and I think I'm going to screen print the cover like I mentioned before. It gives me an excuse to go to the studio. I haven't made the time to go all the way to Tucson lately, so let's finish this project together. After a bunch of slicing and dicing and stapling, I ended up with this zine. So this is the final result. As you can see, the cover is a different color than the inner pages. I went ahead and printed on this with red just to make it pop a little more. I ended up making around 20 of these in the first go, but I made enough materials to make around 100 total. However, it took so long to assemble them. I think that is definitely something I would change next time around, because every single spread I had to cut with an X-Acto knife, as you saw, by hand, and just doing that alone and making sure everything was the correct size took quite a long time. So next time around, I would definitely leave a bit of a margin, a bit of a bleed, and then just go in with the guillotine and cut them all down to size after assembling them. Because these are saddle stitch zines and they are bound in the middle with these staples, I had to figure out a little hack for stapling them, because my stapler did not go to the center. It like stopped around here. But I found out if you put an eraser underneath where you're gonna staple and then you open the stapler up and push down, the legs of the staple will just stick into the eraser, and then you can just push it down with your fingers or with another tool, and yeah, problem solved. Super happy with these. I will show you a little flip through of the final result. If you enjoyed following along on this 24-hour zine mission with me, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed, and my goal is to post every week. Also, if you want to learn how to make your own zine, on my Patreon I upload weekly lessons on illustration and different projects, and October's project was making a zine, so that is up on the Patreon, as are lessons about a bunch of other different things like riso printing, and this month we are doing editorial illustrations. So if you're interested in that, I have the link down below and at the end of this video, and I will see you next time.